Hello, this is Joe Welinske from Writers UA, and I'm talking with it's a series speaking with people who will be giving talks at our upcoming event in Charleston, South Carolina. And today I am talking with Shane Taylor. Hello, Shane.
Hi Joe, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. It's a nice day here in Seattle. Where are you talking to us from?
Talking to you from Holly Springs, North Carolina, which is just outside Raleigh, and we've finally cleared the clouds and we've got some blue skies now.
So, where are you working at? What types of things are you involved with these days?
Well, I work for a company called WebAssign that does online homework for, especially for the science, technology, engineering, and math. So we have a number of features in the application for students to enter things like diagramming molecules or entering equations or what have you that are graded immediately. And so instructors need to know how to use the system, and students need to know how to use the system. And there's a little more complexity to it than just a simple multiple choice kind of entry. So I create the embedded user assistance increasingly, and the traditional online help and the PDFs, and review all the user interface text for the application, student side and instructor side.
Yeah, I'm always I'm just always interested every time I speak to somebody that there's always a different way that they're applying user assistance and different vertical market, different set of projects. It's kind of amazing all different things that people are involved with. The topic that you're going to be talking about at the conference is related to uh, developing user assistance in an agile environment. Or using agile processes. So, just why don't you give us a little bit of idea of what that means at your organization and some of the challenges and things that you've encountered.
Sure. Where to begin? We adopted Agile several years ago, and it really did transform the way we do business. We're releasing new versions of the software pretty much monthly, and that means we have new user assistance, new documentation that we're actually delivering to customers every month. And at the beginning of a release cycle, we may not have a good idea. I say we, we're actually down to me being the sole technical writer for the company at the time, but may not have a great idea of what's actually going to be released, or what we think is going to be released may not end up being released. And that's part of the agile process is discovery and adapting to the situation on the ground. And so, one of the things that has been important and a real big lesson for me is actually treating our documentation source, which we write in data, as in the same way that the developers do code, and actually checking it into a Git repository and branching and doing work on development branches. And then when we know what's committed to for a given release, then merging that over to master and saying, okay, this is the final deliverable. Because previous to that, we had too many times where we'd work hard and we'd document a feature, and then it wouldn't go out, or it would go out in a different schedule than some of the other things, and so we'd really have to do a lot of manual work to back out some of the changes that we had made, and there's a lot of stress to and worry that, hey, did I miss something because I've made these changes over, all these changes over the past few weeks, and did I remember every single thing to back out? And so, one of the key lessons that I've learned is do feature development with the documentation and the user assistance in feature branches in your repository in the same way that developers do with their code.
Well, I I know that agile means different things to different people in different organizations, and some places are very dogmatic about it, and others it's more ad hoc. In our recent skills and technology survey, I asked a question of whether or not people were using Agile in their organizations. I think over half of the people responded that they were doing that. At a recent event, I did a show of hands related to that question, and over half of the people were using it at their organization. So it's obviously out there, but when I talk to people about specifically what that means and what they do, it all different kinds of variations. So, like how would you categorize it where you work, or the ways that it's been implemented there?
Well, we have kind of the standard rituals of a lot of Agile companies. We have four development teams, and they have stand-up meetings every day. We have backlog grooming. Actually, we've renamed it refinement for some reason the last couple months. Those kinds of rituals. Maintaining an inventory of tickets that we want to get to and that we think that we're going to get to, trying to estimate those, bring them into a particular sprint when we think that they're ready. And one of the things that's been interesting is we've kind of adopted that in the TechCom department too. And so we have our own backlog of work that needs done, and we'll try to bring those in. At the beginning of each sprint, I'll sit with whatever teams are necessary, whatever teams that I know are going to do something that's going to impact the user assistance or docs, during the planning, and try to get the information I can, and actually have established relationships with the team so that if I'm not sitting in their planning meeting, but they know something they're doing is going to impact user assistance or docs, and they'll uh, IM me or something to say, hey, you should be aware of this ticket or that. And so, after that, after all the development teams do their planning for the sprint, then we do our planning. I meet with my manager and say, hey, this is what's coming up, and this is the amount of work that I think that we can get done in this sprint, and I want to pull in these tickets, and let's put these others at the top of the backlog. So if there's bandwidth, we'll pull them in, but if there's not, we won't worry about it.
Uh, Another thing I was wondering about, you could take some time to reflect on this if you need to. Is there anything, any specific categories of the areas of user assistance that create more challenges from you than others, whether it's maybe working with a tool and having that as part of the process, or possibly a writing style that you use that maybe is difficult to integrate with Agile, or possibly flipping it over, things that just seem to work really well within those Agile sprints that are specifically user assistance related.
Sure. One of the challenges that we've had is that we're in the process of trying to ramp up kind of the development of the next generation of our user interface and our user experience for the product. WebAssign's been around for over 15 years now, and most we've built on the original platform, but now we've got a really fully staffed user experience team and willingness from management to try to develop, what's going to be the next generation of our user experience. And so I've had to collaborate with them to try to come up with, what's the best ways to deliver user assistance in the product. And we've really had to kind of make this just difficult decisions between what we would like to do from a user experience perspective and what development is able to commit to doing in order to continue to release features quickly. And so that's always been a challenge, and more so recently. But it's good to have those conversations. And well, you're talking about one of the big challenges of user assistance, particularly with Agile, is traditionally you're used to having really well fleshed out specs for a feature, and that's just simply not the case in most Agile environments. And with a lot of the feature teams, the development teams that I work with, a lot of their tickets are nothing more than a summary line and an estimate, and I have to actually have conversations with them to say, well, what is this ticket about really? So you really do have to build those relationships and be willing to have conversations on a daily basis and go get in people's faces, no, not in a bad way, but just to get the information that you need.
All right, well, cool. Well, thanks for taking the time to have a little chat with me here, and I'll see you when we get together in Charleston in a few weeks.
Happy to do it. Really looking forward to it.
All right, thanks, Shane.
Thanks.